We have normalized women's suffering. That is what we have done. So in this particular article, she talks about that we have over-medicalized menopause. But this particular article from the British Medical Journal from 2022 makes me kind of crazy. So here's the deal. Menopause happens to women, or happens as a transition. It comes and goes, but we want you to be prepared to be the best version of you in all stages of your life. And I need you to know these changes in your body and what's going to happen. I want you to know. In this particular article that kind of annoys me, I feel like it's medical gaslighting. Let's take it from the top. Well, the majority of women experience body changes over the menopause transition. Most consider this a natural process that is manageable without medical intervention. Sometimes people don't even know that perimenopause exists and they just think they're crazy. So that is true that many women don't know they're in perimenopause. They don't know about menopause. It is absolutely a natural process, 100%. But to say that most people think it is a natural process that is manageable without medical intervention, define most. What? Anyway. For example, a U.S. longitudinal survey of 2,565 midlife women in the 1980s. The 1980s, that is 44 years ago. We're a different world now, y'all. Different food, different, everything's different. This study no longer fucking matters, boomers. No longer matters. We're 44 years later. You've destroyed our world. Don't even. But let's just keep going. 1980s found that almost half were relieved to be going through menopause. 42% are felt neutral about the experience. They didn't even know that perimenopause existed back then, and they didn't have the internet. They weren't educated like we are now. We're a different beast than those 1980s women. We're informed. We know more and want to know more, and we are more proactive. Anyway, an Australian cross-sectional survey of midlife women, 776 in 2001, found that 90% were not troubled by the physical or psychological changes in the menopause transition. Okay, we're getting a little more recent. So 24 years ago in Australia, a system that has better healthcare than us in the US, they are not troubled. Okay. But what about the women in 2024? Have these people lived through a pandemic? Have they lived through what we're living through? Because our cortisol levels in this post-COVID world, these people didn't have a pandemic. I don't know if you know this, but our world is different. So give me a new research study to cite. Furthermore, a systematic review of qualitative studies found that menopause is experienced in different ways globally. This is absolutely true because how women are treated, nutrition, diet, genetic makeup, environment, workload, everything's different. Menopause is absolutely a truly unique experience. Menopause is very unique with each person, and it varies by family. How your mother experienced menopause might be an indicator of when you might go into menopause, but not necessarily. If you have PCOS, you might go into menopause later because menopause is ovarian insufficiency, and if you have PCOS and you are not putting those little eggs out on time all the time, it is saving you and kind of prolonging how long it takes you to get into menopause. There's many variables. Now, with this difference with culture, specifically women's expectations and experiences of menopause are strongly influenced by personal, family, and socio-cultural, let's back this up. Socio-cultural, but like socio-economic. The country you grew up in, the level of poverty, the community, the color of your skin, your access to healthcare. Do you even have a mommy? Did your auntie not tell you? Do you even have a primary care doc? Do you even have enough money to have a well visit and to take time off work to get the care you need? In the US, menopause is earlier and vasomotor symptoms are common and long-lasting in African American women more than in white women. We know that they experience worse vasomotor symptoms and get diagnosed with perimenopause 8 to 10 years later. The reasons for these disparities are not known, but structural racism, inequalities, and ongoing life stressors may contribute. So when I have these articles that I read that tell me to think positive about menopause and that we should frame it in a positive light, I have to say That's great. And I want to be positive, but I also would like to be real that healthcare is not cheap. It is not free. Access to healthcare is not for all, not anyone. Hormone replacement therapy, it's hard to find because you have to find a doctor who will believe you and will prescribe it. Can you take off work? Can you afford the prescription? Even though it might be $5, $10, $15, if you can get it covered, many of us have to have things compounded because if you have low testosterone, there isn't an FDA approved prescription testosterone. She states that the medicalization of menopause risks collapsing the wide range of experiences on average age associated with this natural process into a narrowly defined disease requiring treatment. Medicalization tends to emphasize the negative aspects of menopause, and while effective treatments are important for those with troublesome symptoms, medications may increase women's anxiety and apprehension about the natural life stage. This is medical gaslighting at its finest. This woman is so nice. I feel bad saying this, but by the time women go to their doctor to tell you they're perimenopause or menopause, they've tried all the other things. They need something by the time they come to you. They are asking for HRT, menopause hormone therapy, because they've tried all the other stuff.